For this video, I'm going to show you how to mix the Nunn Design Resin and using the kit. So what you want to do is go ahead and open up the kit and take all of the contents out. You will have mixing cups, and you will have the part A and part B of the resin. This one looks like it's got a little squished. And then we'll have some mixing stir sticks, some instructions that you'll definitely want to take a look at because it goes over the storage and has a couple of tops. I don't use the top, so I just stick them back in. So you'll want to prep your workstation. I have a piece of plastic, or I'm using a large Ziploc bag underneath my surface where I'm mixing my resin. My room is already brought up to temperature, so I have my room at 68 to 72 degrees. My resin has also been brought up to room temperature, but if it hadn't, I can put it into some warm water until it is brought up to room temperature. And I am now ready to mix. Other things you're going to want to have are some wet wipes, a pair of gloves to be wearing when you mix your resin, and a timer set for 2 minutes. Go ahead and powder fully your hands. I just did mine over my waste paper basket. Just put powder all over my hands. It makes it easy for me to get my gloves on and off, and I can reuse these same gloves over and over again. To mix the resin, you have to have a 1-to-1 ratio exactly of 1 tablespoon to 1 tablespoon. And you have to mix the full cup in order for the resin to be properly activated. So you want to fill up to the first 1 tablespoon, always with the part A, and then up to the second tablespoon, always with the part B. So I like to get down right next to my resin, so put it down on your work surface, covered area, and you're going to pour in the part A. Go ahead and take the lid off. Then get right down next to the resin so you can see that line and know exactly when you've hit it. So I'm pouring, and my bottle is tilted quite a bit up so that I can have a heavy flow because I'm putting a lot of resin in. And then as it starts to get close to that line, I'm putting the base of the bottle down closer to the table, and I'm waiting till I get right to that line. So I'll have a very thin flow, and as I hit that mark, right where it's at, I'll go ahead and twist the top, and I'll use one of my wet wipes to wipe away any resin that might have spilled. And so I have a nice clean top. I'm gonna put my resin top back on. Go ahead and turn that corner over where that resin was, and you're ready to pour the part B. So we're going to do this one up to that 2 tablespoon mark of the part B. So bring it right down to the surface. Pour, pour, pour. It's right to that line. And as it starts to get to that line, I'm twisting my top, ending the flow, and I'm right at that 2 tablespoon mark. Go ahead and wipe away the excess resin that might be on there. Put the lid on. Now we're ready to time ourselves for 2 minutes. So I have my timer set for 2 minutes, and I'll go ahead and start. And with one of the stir sticks, I'm holding at the base of the resin. I'm putting the stir stick into the resin, and this is a really full cup. So I'm just going slow, and you'll start by rotating around the outside edges. You can see that the 2 parts get cloudy right away as they start to activate and come together. So I'm going around the outside edges. I'm also scraping the bottom of the cup. And then every now and then I'm going to stop, pause, scrape the sides off to get all of that resin of part A and B back into the cup, and then come back in, stirring. You can also rotate it around with your fingers, holding it at the base. top and scrape the sides. Scrape the stick back into the cup and keep going. So it's a minimum of 2 minutes, but what you're really watching out for is as these two parts, A and B, become more and more mixed, they will get less cloudy. Don't worry too much about those bubbles inside of there because those we'll have ways to deal with. So scraping the sides and the bottom. Scraping into the cup. And there's my timer. After your timer goes off, and if you still don't have a nice clear mixture, just continue to stir, rotating the cup, stirring, scraping the sides. And then as it starts to get very clear, go ahead and scrape off the top, on the top part, mixing stick. And then I like to place mine into either a cup or onto another piece of plastic and let that dry because I can reuse that stick over and over again. And as the resin sits, it'll start to have the air bubbles come to the surface and they'll expand and pop. You can also place this under a nice lamp, and the heat of the lamp will also make the bubbles pop.